Good morning, Flosstube. I am Tamara. I am PD Stitcher here on YouTube and over on Instagram, and also now on TikTok. I have started actually sharing some little videos featuring my cross-stitch pieces on my TikTok channel, so if you want to follow over there, that'd be great. If you are on TikTok, I know it's a young person thing, or it started that way, and now it's there's a lot of cross stitchers on TikTok, as I have found recently, so it's kind of exciting to find new stitchy friends over there as well. Today is Sunday, January 22nd, and it is 7 o'clock in the morning, but again, there's no light coming in from these windows over here. Yeah, that blind is shut, but even if it was open, there'd still be no light coming in because it is pouring down rain. In fact, you may even be able to hear it. It's pretty loud. It's going to be a long, rainy, dreary day today. Welcome. If you are new here, welcome. I hope you stick around and see if there's anything here you like, and if so, hit the subscribe button and keep coming back to be my stitchy friend. And if you are returning, welcome back. I appreciate you. I just appreciate my stitchy friends. I don't have a lot of stitchy friends here in person where I live. I have friends, but none that stitch. I'm finding a few who either have recently started cross stitching or cross stitched and I didn't know. So that's been nice. I would love to start a little get together with stitchy friends here. It's just a matter of trying to find time because everybody's busy. So, welcome. Let's see, what do we have today? Of course, 0 finishes. It's the beginning of the year. I'm not expecting many at this point in the year. I have a lot of whips. I have some acquisitions to my stitchy collection and some plans. And that's about it today. So let's get started. This may be a short video. I don't know. It depends on if I ramble. But short for me is short, and long for me is like average for most Flosstubers. So there's that. Let's get started. I think I unzipped everything that needed to be unzipped before I started. Well, before I sat down to start. So hopefully, because those of you who use headphones, I try to keep the extra noise to a minimum. So the first one is 3 dolphins. Here is what it is supposed to look like, the cover photo, and the artwork is by Carol Cavalaris, and it is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, or HAED. Here is where it was the last time I showed you, which I believe was probably during the whip parade. And here is where it is now. I added this right here, and I think this was all where this page had ended. That was all there. So I did about maybe 4 rows down, and then color completing down here and over here, and hanging thread, because why not? This one, and I had to do for Magical Stitches. There's a DMC challenge this year. They did it last year too. Vicki from Reading and Stitching runs Magical Stitches. She and Sammy J. And last year they had a DMC challenge, which I started and then fizzled out on. This year I'm already off to a great start. This was week 1's color, and I did it this week, which was week 3, and that's the only color I've done so far. So I may or may not be able to continue, but we'll see. But this was the color that was for week 1. I think it was $7.93. So I knew I could find it easily on the first page, 2 pages of 3 dolphins. So I did that. The needle minder is from Creatively Crafting, Amanda at Creatively Crafting. And the ground guard is Garon Tote Bags. It's a Harry Potter. And this is on 25 count Easy Grid. If I, for some reason, forget to tell you the fabric, it will be in the description box below. If I forget a designer, it will also be in the description box below. Sometimes I'm not really good at remembering to say these things, but I always remember to put them in the description box. So at least I get that. My next one is Christmas 2. This is my focus for this year as far as full coverage. It's also my oldest WIP, so I'm kind of hoping to get it closer to a finish. Here is where it was the last time I showed you, which was the video 2 weeks ago. And first I probably showed you what it's supposed to look like, and then I showed you what it would look like 2 weeks ago. And here's where it is now. It is, I did not fold this. I folded it, obviously. I didn't refold it to make it easier to share, so bear with me. So I've been working on this page up here, and I've gotten quite a bit. Let me see if I can fold this to where it's easier to show where I've been working, and then I'll pull it out to show you more. So this is, I've been working on this page. I've got to fill in that right there, and then finish going across. So it's looking really good. It's 2/1/10 stitch, and you can still see kind of some of the fabric through, but then when I hold it back here and you can see the whole thing, you can't see it. And that's the ultimate goal, is that when it's hanging in my house in, 2050, 2060, 2070, at some point I'm going to finish this. But when it's hanging in my house, I'm expecting people to look at it hanging in my house like this and not like this, because if somebody's getting up that close to examine my stitches, I may ask them to leave. I don't stitch to put things in the fair. Those of you who do, I am so impressed with how neat your stitches are and how you just, it always looks gorgeous. That's not me. My stitches aren't always neat. They don't always lie right, and I'm a little lazy, so if they don't lie right, but it looks okay, I'm going to leave them. And I'm okay with that, because this is for me and it's my hobby, and I'm the only person that I care about impressing at this point. So, it's not going in the fair. I did hear that, there was somebody, I don't remember who it was, who mentioned that they had put their piece in the fair and got their, they got a ribbon, got their, I can't think of, the remarks back, the criticisms back, the helpful hints, and there was dog hair, so they got marked down for dog hair. Yeah, there's going to be dog hair in every piece I have. That's just life. I have 2 dogs who shed. There's going to be dog hair in all of my stitching. So it's never going to, do great, because there's always going to be extra fibers. Fibers added with love. This is where it is, and I'm really excited. I see it coming along, and hopefully, and Buster's decided to get up and scratch, so that's the jingle jangle you hear. Hopefully I can get him to lay back down and rest. Otherwise, you're just going to hear him make weird noises and be strange, so I apologize. He almost fell off the bed. So it's going to be a long morning, a different video. I apologize for that. Oh, and I forgot to say that this my needle minder, which always flips sideways, it's so aggravating. But this is from Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery from back when I did the Nutcracker sale they had in 2018, 2019. And I thought this would be cute to go on Christmas too, since there's a lot of Nutcrackers. It was either put it on this one or it was going to go on my royal Nutcrackers, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to share in just a minute. because I think I worked on it recently. And I'm sorry, but I have to at least fold it back up, do something neat with it to neaten it up and keep it out of Puppy's way. So last week I mentioned that I couldn't have Milo up here while I was doing this because I have to keep him away from my stitching. And then I said I would explain later, and I never did, or 2 weeks ago when I filmed. He's taken to eating floss. I left my Christmas tree when I was working on it. As you can see, on that one I park. On 3 Dolphins, I don't park. I do color completing. It's the difference between having it on Pattern Keeper and having a paper pattern for Christmas too. It's much easier to color complete when I can click on Pattern Keeper, click on that color, and just go through without having to hunt for it like I do on paper. But you know what? It works for me. But anyways, Milo got he got a little snack off of some of my parked threads, my hanging threads on Christmas too a couple weeks ago. And he also likes to eat my orts out of my little ort container, so I have to make sure it's closed up and put away every time I finish stitching. So he can't. He eats anything that he thinks might be a treat for him. He ate a sock the other day. That was fun. Yeah, he's a mess. He's definitely a very, very puppy staged dog. He's still in his puppy stage, and I'm looking forward to when he outgrows that, because that will make life a little easier. So the next one is Rosetta from Ink Circles. Oh, and Christmas 2 was artwork by Ciro Marchetti and charted by Heaven and Earth Design. Like I said, I'm doing it 10 stitch 2/1 on 25 count easy grip. Now we'll go to Rosetta. Rosetta by Ink Circles. Here is the cover photo. And that's not exactly what it's going to look like because I've changed the colors. The pattern will look the same. The color scheme will be different. And here's where it was the last time. I'm just pointing randomly because I know it's going to take up the whole page. So it doesn't matter if it's here, over my face. It's going to take up the whole screen. But here is where it was last time I showed you. And here is where it is now. I finished this medallion and started on this one. And I'm trying, because I'm using variegated floss, I kind of move around to make sure that I don't end up with something looking stripy, because I want the variegation to be throughout, like with this one and this one. Some of them are more variegated than others. But I will have below in the description box what the colors are going across. This one is a Gentle Arts Peacock. The rest are all Weeks. The outline is Weeks Coal. I don't remember what all of the others are, but they'll be in the description box below. But it's coming along really nicely. I'm excited. So I had 2 WIPGO goals called, well, obviously 2 for this month. The 2 that were called were to complete 1 medallion on Rosetta, which I did because I had completed this one, and to do 2,000 stitches on Christmas 2, which I did. So both of my January goals I've met. I don't think I'll keep that up all year by meeting one of those goals, but we'll see. So, and this needle minder was from Grace Notes Fabrics. Corinne and Colleen and John and their whole family, they have the nicest fabrics. I love them. They have such good modeling, and I just love them. This is not a Grace Notes Fabrics. This is Dusty Road from somebody. I will have it in the description box below. I think Weeks, but I'm not sure. It's either Weeks or Seraphim. I think it's weeks, but it's Dusty Road. I do know that. And this is housed in a So Much to Love Mickey Mouse project bag because Mickey Mouse is my favorite. In fact, I have a Mickey and Friends shirt that one of my daughters gave me for Christmas. She works at H&M, so she gets the employee discount, and so if she sees a Mickey Mouse shirt or sweatshirt or something that she thinks I would like, she usually uses her discount and picks it up for me because she's sweet like that. All right, I told you earlier that I thought we would see Royal Nutcrackers again this week, and we will. So here is what it will look like. That's the cover photo, and it's by Bobbie G Designs. And here is where it was the last time I showed you. And no, I didn't make sure any of my pieces were folded to where it would be easy to share. I have to unfold them and refold them back. And here's where we are now. As you can see, you've got this. I've started going down his boot because I was using this gray, and so I filled in here, and there was a couple other places, and then I just wanted to finish off that thread. So he looks like a peg leg. That will be a boot, I promise. He's not going to be a peg leg. But I've finished the top and the bottom, the top of the border. I've got the first line is 3 rows deep for the bottom. I've done the first row going across. And then all of the green little leaves going around for the border. So it's getting there. And this is on 32 count something, which will be in the description box below. I want to say Faun, but that's not right. It might be right. I don't know. And this needle minder came out of my Stitch and Button 12 Days of Christmas Advent. This was one of the gifts. I love it, and it goes nicely on it. I might switch them though and put my Nutcracker on here and this on my Christmas too. I don't know. They both kind of could go with either. And this is housed in a non-decorated bag from Amazon. I do have stickers that I want to put on this. I just haven't done it. So I've decided I'm going to decorate them with stickers and make them at least a little bit more fun and festive. And the last WIP is Pandemic from Long Dog Sampler. This is the cover photo. And here is where it was the last time I showed you. Which was my WIP parade. This has been my 24 hours of cross stitch weekend focus. This weekend is 24 hours of cross stitch. I think I've finished 9 hours. I don't think I'm going to get in 24. I don't have it in me to do 11 more hours today. No, that would not even be 13 more hours. 15 more hours would be 24. Math. It's early and I can't math this morning. But normally I try to get like 8 hours on Friday, 8 hours on Saturday, 8 hours on Sunday. Friday I ended up with like 2 hours just because I was really busy and I now have a job. This is the first 24 hours of cross stitch that I've been able to participate in where I've been working outside the home. Before I worked from home, and so I could get all my work done really early and stitch for several hours. I can't do that now. So, but this is my focus this weekend, and I finished the inside of here. I did these 2 flowers, this butterfly, finished this, did the 2 bunnies, finished this triangle, and am working on the berries. This color palette, I will put below what the DMC's colors are that I'm using, but I chose this color palette from stitchpalettes.com, and it's very, very pretty blues and teals. And I am loving it. So all of the animals I'm doing the same color. This is a different blue than the animals, but not by much. It's just a touch different. But I love that for the berries. And then the others are teals, and it's really coming along. I started this with Pam from Farm Boys Love. I'll tag her below. She and I started this a couple years ago, 2020, September or October of 2020. So 2.5 years ago, a little over 2 years ago. And she's farther along than I am because, you know, she's better. She's better at focusing than I am. I'm not good at focusing, and I do a little here and a little there. But I want to focus on this year, and so this is my 24 hours of cross stitch focus this weekend, and I'm really excited about how much I've gotten done. And those are all my whips. And that is on 40 count angel hair from somebody. Again, that will be below. I'm really good kind of remembering the fabrics, but then, you know, then I sit down in front of the camera and I forget. I have a little bit of stitchy acquisition. This is a pink bag, which means it's from Grace Notes Fabrics. So this is my fabric of the month. And this month, I alternate between the color and the neutral, and this month I got the color. And this is Pensiera, and I always get 40 count. And the color is washing out in this lighting. Let me see if I hold this up to something white. It is very pale. It is like a pale lavender. That's a little bit better. You can kind of see. But it's a pale lavender, and it's absolutely, absolutely pretty. So this is my fabric of the month for January. And y'all, I have got to brag on Grace Notes Fabrics. Corinne, she is so very patient and understanding. So one of my credit cards got hacked in December, right before Christmas, of course. And of course it would be the one I had on file to pay for my Grace Notes Fabrics subscription for my fabric of the month. So when it came time for it to automatically charge my card, obviously it didn't work. Well, then the website that they use for payments had a glitch, and it wouldn't allow me to go in. It told me that my card was declined, but it wouldn't allow me to go in and change my card information. So I messaged her and told her what was going on, and she said I wasn't the only person having this problem, and she had been on the phone with the site that they use. We went through, she was so wonderful, trying to help me work through the whole situation, trying to make sure it all went through, and she is wonderful. She is amazing. Customer service, outstanding. So if you do not get Grace Notes Fabrics, you need to. They are wonderful. Corinne is so sweet and kind and just wonderful to work with. And I'm also going to brag on my purple package. I had a pink package and a purple package this year. So obviously if it's purple, it's from Tiny Hummingbird Stitchery, which is Sammy J from Sammy J Stitches. She has her store, her online store is through her Facebook page. She has a Facebook page for Tiny Hummingbird Stitchery. And I went through and asked for Me Please on the first of the clowns series, of the snowman series from Cottage Garden Samplings, which was the Needleworker. And I realize there's a glare, but I don't want to take it out of the bag because it'll be hard for me to put back in. It'll make a lot of noise. So it was the Needleworker. And when I said Me Please, and it had been on there for a while because I'm always late to the game, she asked me if I would want the whole, because I said I wanted the whole series. And she asked me if I wanted it to just become like an automatic thing every month. And yes. So I'm so glad that she thought to ask me to do that, because it makes it easier for me to not have to remember to go back in. Because, like I said, I'm always late to the game. So she sent me that one. Well, I purchased them. She didn't just send them. And the clown at the same time. So this may or may not become one of the new starts that gets added to my already planned new starts. I have a lot of just additional pieces now that I want to start this year after I've already planned for my 12 new starts. And I kind of had saved a spot for my birthday start. So for one new start. And now I have like 4 things that I want to start at least. And we're only midway through January. So this may be the year that I start all the things. So, and of course she always sends a thread drop. And that's it for Stitchy acquisitions to my, and now I'm going to scoot up a little bit because I don't need to be back so far, to my Stitchy collections. Life. Let's see. My youngest is still doing wrestling. She loves it, and I'm glad she loves it, but she has gotten hurt so many times this season. This is her first year doing wrestling. It's the first year that girls have really had a chance to wrestle in high school for our state. And it's not even official this year. It's not sanctioned. Next year it will be, so she's kind of hoping to use this year as like a springboard. But so far this season, she has had, she's hurt her back. She's had a concussion. She sprained her wrist. And she sprained her ankle twice. Tuesday night, she had a match, and I was watching, me and one of my other daughters were watching her wrestle. And she was doing really well. She was wrestling a boy in her weight class, and she was the better wrestler. And because when they start with one wrestler, like, on all fours and the other one above them, and they have to, if you haven't watched a wrestling match, it's very interesting. Well, she was the one down, and every time they would have to restart because he kept pulling her arm back behind her, and the ref had to stop it and start them back over because it was dangerous, because everybody was afraid her shoulder was going to pop out of socket. It did not. She's extremely flexible, and she was actually surprised that people were worried about her. She thought everybody was as flexible as she is, because she can pull her arm like completely over her head and like touch the back over here like this, and she thought everybody could do that. She's since learned that no, she's just super flexible. So her shoulder didn't pop out of socket, but they kept having to restart in that position, and every time they start in that position, she'd get up and she'd stand up, and this kid would be hanging on her back, and then he would like put his arm around her neck and pull her shoulder back, and he wasn't wrestling. He was just, I don't know what he was doing, but she was actually wrestling, and she was the better wrestler. But then at one point he was trying to swing off of her back, and he pulled her around, and when she went down, she landed really weird on her ankle. Sprain number 2. So she just quit at that point and let him pin her because she was in so much pain. So she lost the match, even though she was doing really well. And I'm sitting in, the mats are at the bottom of the gym, and I'm up at the upper deck of the gym so that I could see down. And I'm watching the trainer come out and literally carry her back to the trainer's room. So my daughter goes, and then we were at the high school where they go, so they're very familiar with it. She looked at me, she goes, "Should I go check on her?" I was like, "Yeah." And then she texts me, and she's like, "Come on down to the trainer's room." So I go down to the trainer's room. But she was fine. She was on crutches for that day and the rest of that day and the next day, and now she's fine, and was upset she didn't get to wrestle Thursday. She got injured on Tuesday. No, she doesn't need to wrestle 2 days later. We need to heal. So she's hoping to get to wrestle this week. But Lord, it's been a season of injury for her. And then that's my youngest. The next one up, my runner. She did her very first ever half marathon last weekend. And if I can figure out how to do this, I will try and put a clip of her start and maybe a couple of pictures at the end of this video. She came in as the second overall female with a fantastic time of 1 hour and 26 minutes for her first ever half marathon. So she was excited. I was very impressed, and it was cold. We had really warm weather. And the half marathon was in Charleston, South Carolina. And we had really warm weather for like 2 weeks before that. And then that morning it was cold and it was windy, very windy. And that made it really hard. Like, people who were running the half marathon, who have run half marathons and marathons, were saying that it was ridiculously windy and it made it a lot harder than normal. So it was nice to hear that it wasn't just that she wasn't used to the elements, that it was bad for everybody. So she did that. I went and I saw her start and I saw her end. That's the thing with long races. You don't get to see. I like track because they're going around the oval and I can see the whole thing. So for the rest of it, I just stood around and talked to other people who were waiting for their people to come in. So that was last weekend for her. And then everybody else is doing great. I got my car back from the shop from where I hit a deer back in October. They finally were able to fit me in December. They had me scheduled to bring it in on the 27th of December, so I brought it in. And it took them much longer than they anticipated to fix it because things were on back order. Everything right now, the supply chain is still ridiculous. It's been 2 years. I wish they could figure out how to fix that, but I don't think they ever will. I think they kind of like it like that. But, So finally got my car back. It's nice to have my car back. I don't really like renting cars. First of all, that's expensive. And second, I like familiarity, and my car is familiar to me. I know how all the buttons and everything works. So I'm glad to have my car back. I don't think there's anything else that's going on life-wise. So y'all have a great week. Get some stitching done. Stay happy. Stay healthy. Keep stitching. Bye, y'all.